The water had rinsed the dust away, but water alone was never enough. In the desert air, moisture fled quickly, skin dried, lips cracked, hair tangled and turned brittle. So, the Egyptians learned another lesson: to seal the body, to guard it, to prepare it for sun and sand. That seal came from wax and oil, most often beeswax, golden, pliable, faintly scented with honey, the work of hives translated into protection. Beeswax was softened gently, warmed in the hands until it yielded, and then smoothed across the skin in thin films. Not globs, not heavy coats, but light touches over arms, legs, and faces. It left a sheen, not glossy, but quietly protective, like an invisible layer of cloth. It prevented the desert from pooling too harshly, kept sweat from evaporating too quickly, and gave the body a modest glow. Hair too was touched with wax. Men shaved short cropped hair with it, smoothing edges, tamming frizz, giving a neat finish that spoke of care. Women used it to press braids, to hold strands in place, sometimes blending it with scented oils or powdered herbs so that fragrance clung to the hair all day. Even wigs, worn by both men and women for style or ceremony, were treated with waxes and oils to keep them supple in the heat. There was ritual in the act itself. To shave one's hair, to smooth one's skin, was not only about appearance, it was about identity. The Egyptians prized cleanliness and grooming as signs of balance. To be oiled, to be waxed, to be neatly kept was to be in Ma'at. To be unkempt was to slip towards disorder, towards neglect, towards isfet, the chaos opposite of balance. And so, even simple grooming was a spiritual act, aligning the body with the order of the world. Fragrance was part of this ritual, but it was never gaudy. Oils infused with lotus, myrrh, or cedarwood were blended sparingly. The goal was modest scent, a gentle reminder rather than a proclamation. A faint sweetness when the body warmed, a whisper of resin when the breeze passed. To smell pleasant was to honor others as much as oneself. It was hospitality carried in the body. Morning routines unfolded in courtyards, with family members helping one another. A mother smoothing wax into a child's arms. A father rubbing oil into his son's hair. Siblings braiding and shaping. Laughter often accompanied the process. Children wriggling away from sticky hands. Parents coaxing them back. Even servants and slaves were often groomed, because their appearances reflected on the household they served. In this way, grooming was both personal and communal, intimate yet social. And when it was finished, when the wax had sealed the skin, when the hair was neat, when the faintest fragrance hung in the air, the person was ready to dress. Cleanliness in Egypt was not bare skin alone. It was linen, fresh and light, layered against the sun. Because freshness did not end with oils, it came also from cloth, from changing linens, from washing layers, from the cadence of laundering that kept bodies cool and spirits uplifted. To stay clean in the desert was to keep linen fresh, and that is where the ritual carried next. If beeswax sealed the skin, linen wrapped it in freshness. In Egypt, linen was more than clothing. It was a second skin, the visible sign of cleanliness, the daily marker of care. Cotton and wool were unknown luxuries or rarely used. Linen, woven from flax stalks, was the fabric of choice, and the act of changing it, of slipping into clean layers, was as much as ritual as necessity. Fresh linen meant beginning again. To put on garments still cool from laundering was to feel the desert's grit kept at bay. The body's wax and oil guarded beneath smooth threads. The cloth was light, breathable, and porous, letting air pass through even in the height of summer. It moved easily, draping without weight, whispering across the skin when the breeze caught it. In a world of heat and dust, this sensation was more than luxury. It was relief. Changing garments was itself a daily rhythm. Linen was laundered frequently, more often than most modern cloth. Water from the Nile was mixed with natron or plant ash. Garments beaten against flat stones or rubbed briskly with reeds, then rinsed and laid out beneath the sun. Stains were worked out with lemon-like fruits or oils, stubborn spots treated with clay. The cycle was constant: wear, wash, dry, replace. Fresh linen meant a fresh start every day. Even the oil that sometimes marked the cloth, dark spots left by scented blends or beeswax sheen, was not unwelcome. These stains were seen as signs of care, proof that the skin beneath had been tended. In paintings and tombs, linen is often shown bright white, but in life, slight variations of cream and pale gold appeared, softened by sun and washing. The whiteness was prized, but the lift fabric carried the marks of daily ritual, of bodies kept clean, of oils rubbed in, of scents absorbed. Garments were simple in shape but layered for effect. A plain tunic tied at the waist, a second wrap draped over the shoulders, sometimes pleated, sometimes left smooth. Even the poorest aspired to clean linen. If not many sets, then at least one carefully tended. And for the wealthy, finer weaves, thinner threads, and more layers meant greater coolness, greater display of purity. The Egyptians believed freshness came as much from cloth as from the body itself. A person in rumpled, stained linen was thought to carry disorder, even if their skin was scrubbed and oiled. A person in a clean, crisp linen, even if humble, was seen as balanced, respectable, aligned with Ma'at. Cleanliness and identity were stitched together. After grooming with beeswax and oil, donning fresh linen completed the morning ritual. The body, sealed in fragrance, slipped into cloth that cooled, covered, and signaled readiness. Work would begin. Errands could be run. Prayers could be said. To be dressed was to be complete, prepared for the day. And yet, linen did not end its service at dressing. The washed garments themselves had their own ritual of drying. Egyptians knew that the desert's greatest ally was not only water, not only wax, but the wind itself, moving air that finished what water had begun. And so, the next step in the ritual was to let the sun and breeze do their quiet work, drying, cleansing, freshening, preparing linen for another cycle. Wind was not only weather, it was the final hand in the act of staying clean. That is where we go next.